Welcome back to Photos with Yanni. Hey all, it's Yanni. So, oftentimes, beginner photographers are so frustrated because the photos that come out of the DSLRs or mirrorless cameras are not the same quality as the smartphones. The colors are dead, the image looks flat. Generally, the camera, even on auto mode, cannot capture the same vibrancy as a cell phone. And I wanted to breach a topic that a lot of photographers talk about. Does gear matter? Before we get started, if you wanna hit the like button and subscribe, we have a lot of fun stuff coming up. So why can't a camera capture a picture as good as a smartphone? It's funny. The same question was asked by my dad. He has a podcast live stream show. I'm gonna link it below. And he wanted to get a decent camera, just for streaming and whatnot, not to take pictures. And so after I gave him my advice, he went and got a Canon M50 Mark II. Once we hooked it up to his computer, we found that the color science, and this is Canon, was not nearly as good as a cheaper webcam. And this got me thinking. Hindsight, the answer is plain to see. But let's get to the real result together here, and you'll see what I'm talking about at the end. About a month ago, I did a test. I went out with my Canon EOS R6, which is the little beast, and a couple lenses, my iPhone 12 Pro Max. I tried to capture the same image, and I'll put it up right here. And I won't tell you which one is which, but you'll see what I'm talking about. Just so I could compare the results. Here's the results straight from the camera, and here is it from the iPhone. And now you can tell, which one is which. Surprising though, isn't it? And extremely impressive too. Now, mind you, these results are not just exclusive to the iPhone. All smartphones, have pretty much amazing technology to capture pictures. Any smartphone at all would do. After a little bit of research, the answer is a little simpler than we think. A camera is a tool that will do 99% of the job for you. All you have to do is point and shoot. The phone has something that's called computational photography. So it will take your shot, it will handle the focus, handle the color science, the shadows, the highlights, and everything else. If you want to see a difference, especially in the new iPhones, try taking the same shot just as a regular picture and then shoot it as raw. You will see that the first image has depth, better colors, it's much more alive. So smartphones and cameras have three main differences. This is the first one. In order to get the same results from a camera, you have to edit. And a lot of people don't like that. They don't like the editing, they don't like the extra steps. The same thing applies to video. I remember my dad said, great, but why do people want to do that? Why do they want to edit? Why do they want to do, all those extra steps? It's because color correction, grading, and editing completes the image and gives it your signature, gives it, your own style. Color science is exactly that. It's a science. And when a smartphone shoots, you cannot go back and edit the file. Change the white balance, change the colors, so you can have a uniform photo shoot. A smartphone will be convenient. A camera will be consistent, and that's the main difference right there. The same thing applies to video. The second thing that a smartphone is so much easier to do than a camera is changing lenses. There's no physical lenses to change. Most smartphones have built-in lenses, and yes, it's very, very convenient to use them. Extremely convenient. Instead of changing to a telephoto to get something that is far away. Here's a little pro tip though. Lenses don't only control the distance between you and your subject. Each lens is a mood. Each lens is exactly that. It's a signature. It's a personal style. The number one reason that you should pick your lenses is based on mood. That's right. Do you want to show a great sweeping shot, like a huge ultra wide landscape shot, desolate, how big and grandiose? Use a wide angle lens. Do you really want to have a subject that pops out with incredible bokeh? Oh my god, use the biggest telephoto and the highest aperture. Your subject will just pop right out. Again, a smartphone can definitely do it and more convenient so. But the byproduct a lot of times is a simple halo around the subject, and that's just some blooming, a little bit of softening on the edges, some good software bokeh. The third and final thing that differentiates smartphones and cameras is the difference in raw files. I found that smartphone RAW files cannot be pushed nearly as much as regular Canon CR3 files. Those are the RAW files from Canon. And this is again just personal preference. As someone who's very partial to the dehaze slider myself, and I like to push it on the editing, this makes me team camera. Of course, another difference, would also be the frames per second. You can't really do wildlife photography on a cell phone yet. Yet is the key word there. But, those are just basically the main differences right there. So while you may think that a smartphone produces better images or video than the camera, the truth is actually that they both can produce incredible images. It's just so much easier to do it on a smartphone with a lot less work, and that's perfectly fine. And that's perfectly okay. I have always been a proponent of the saying, the right tool for the right job. And my other favorite saying is that the best camera you have is the one that you have with you that gets the job done. That's just how it is. Just use what you want to use. I personally prefer to use a camera. There are other people who push out incredible photos using a smartphone and some added filters. There isn't a wrong or a right way to do this. I mean, the only thing that matters is the result. To summarize, my good friend Greg Holt said this to me the other day, and it's extremely wise because we were talking about, how come a smartphone camera can push out such incredible images, and we have to do all that work with the RAW files and CR3 files, and we have to push it through Lightroom and then go through Luminar and then extract it and then just, push it as a TIFF and as a JPEG, and you have to do all that work. He says that the way I always compare gear is if you take a novice cook, give them the best kitchen with everything they could want to use, they might be able to get you a decent meal. If you take Gordon Ramsay, drop him in the woods with a dollar store skillet, knives, and a fire, he can probably get you a great meal. And give him a Michelin-rated kitchen and see what he does. So gear definitely matters, but there's more important things. Gear just opens up a bigger world, what you can do. You have passion, you have motivation, you have desire, you have all those awesome elements of, what makes a great photography. And that's what makes a great photography. It's the photographer that does it. So while a smartphone at first glance may be easier to produce, better quote unquote images than a camera, at the end of the day, they both do the same thing. And if you want your own personal seal of approval on the images, I would go the camera way. And that's just how it is. The same thing applies for video too. So I hope that answered your question. Next video we got coming up is going to be the the dreaded triangle, the dreaded exposure triangle, and I can hear Wolf already groaning, about the exposure triangle. We're going to try to tackle it and show a lot of people, everything there is about photography. Until next time, like, subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Yanni signing off. See ya.